I am here with Reverend Gareth Higgs from, I'm getting this right, the Plymouth Methodist Central Hall, which will be in Plymouth, I would imagine. Hello.
Oh yeah, good to see you.
So whereabouts in Plymouth are you? And bearing in mind, I don't know Plymouth that well at all.
Sure. Well, the clue's in the name. So
Ah,
we're Plymouth Methodist Central Hall, so we're literally right in the centre of Plymouth. I'm looking out of my window, and my next door neighbours are Marks and Spencers and the big shopping mall, Drake Circus. So we're right bang in the middle of the city, which is a great place for us to be.
right. Now, I got a message from, I think it was Amber.
Yeah,
Is she one of your congregation, one of your office team?
yeah. Amber's one of our staff team, and she deals with events and finance and projects and things like that. Yeah.
Cool. And what caught my eye was 1,000 knitted angels, which I'll be honest, did make me think, well, that sounds interesting. Tell us more about these angels then.
Sure. Well, it's been done before. It's not nothing original, and we don't want to claim originality. But we are, in essence, we're trying to get as many knitted angels as we can, in order to give them away to as many people as we can. And we just want them to be a sign of encouragement, a sign of blessing, sign of joy and hope to people around this Christmas season. So we live, as I said, we live and work in the middle of the city centre in Plymouth. It's a busy place. People are even now, frantically milling around, getting ready for Christmas. But also we see lots of need amongst that. Some of it is obvious, some of it is hidden behind eyes. And so the need to be good news and share some good news and offer some messages of comfort is really apparent to us in every day in so many ways. We're also the church that runs the Plymouth Food Bank. And we do that with partner agencies and with volunteers from our church, other churches, and no churches. But the need there is unprecedented. I was just doing a shift there yesterday as a volunteer, and you look into the faces of people who are near breaking point for all sorts of different reasons. So this is just a small little way of trying to bring a smile to somebody's face, maybe, and just point them to something better and greater, and remind them really of kind of the hope of Christmas.
A real reason for the season.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that we're doing a whole kind of series on angels this Christmas for us, and one of the things that the New Testament teaches us about angels is that the angels are never pointing amongst themselves; they're always pointing on to Jesus. And so for Christians, that's really important. We do hope that people receive a little angel in their food bag parcel or see one on the street and smile to themselves and have a couple of minutes of cheer. But ultimately, it's not about the angels themselves. We're a church. We're unashamed of what we stand for. We want to share the hope that we have found in Jesus Christ, which we believe is open to everyone.
Just picking up that thing of the food bank, when you're saying you're looking at people and you can see. I mean, we were in a job. We lost our job. We found ourselves within a matter of weeks without food or heating. We presented ourselves. It was Citizens Advice Bureau here in the UK. They then put us onto a food bank, and it was quite harrowing for me as a dad, thinking, I can't feed my kids. I could a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure in a month I will, but right now we have less than nothing. And it was one of the most emotional moments, I think, in my entire life when we went as a family, and they helped us. So what's your setup for the food bank? Are you saying, this is just food, here you go, or is there more of a message of, as Christians, this is what we're doing, and do people know that you're associating the food bank help with Jesus?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that they do. We never want faith to become a barrier from somebody in need receiving the practical need that that's to keep them safe, warm, and well fed. So we wouldn't want that to become a barrier. But we're unapologetic about the motivation behind what we do. We are serving people in the name of Jesus. We are trying to meet people and recognize their inherent dignity because they're made in the image of God. And many of us, not all by all means, but a good number of us who are volunteering or working at the food bank are doing so motivated by our Christian faith. As I said, we're a church-based project. The trustees of the Plymouth Food Bank are the trustees of our church. So there's been this unashamed and acknowledged link from day one. For all sorts of reasons that kind of has sort of drifted apart, and we're trying to bring the two back together. So A great story yesterday is somebody who's in addiction, and they're sort of trying to lead a quasi-normal life and just manage that. But at the same time, they know they're struggling, and they're spending more money than they can afford to feed their addiction. And over a number of weeks now, staff and volunteers have been engaging with that person, offering them not just a food parcel, but a listening ear, signposting to professional services to help with addiction, but also sharing faith and praying with that person. And they're coming back and saying, well, actually, I've cut the substance that I'm using, I've cut that by 50% over the last fortnight, and I'm doing all right. I'm applying for a job, and I think I could do this job. And so we're seeing, and it's a multifaceted thing. It's a holistic thing. So it's about them having food and relieved of a bit of stress of where they're going to eat from. I'm sure it's about having professional services helping and assisting. But I'm convinced as well that having praying people in this person's life is making a difference. And they're certainly, in their language, linking it to having people that listen and pray for them, and for them drawing closer to God. So that's just one little story out of, 60 people that I would have seen in 2 hours yesterday afternoon. That's one story that stands out. So we always need to be really sensitive. For us, it's really important that we never take advantage of anybody who's in need, to kind of hit them over the head with a Christian message. But if people do ask, I'm there in my dog collar, I wear it deliberately. At that point, people ask, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Then, I've got no problem explaining the roots of this project, why we do it and what we do. So it's trying to be holistic as most as we can.
Yeah, you see that in the example of Jesus in the Bible, where he would meet a need. It wasn't all about, okay, this is what the Bible says, and actually Jesus would meet those needs, and that's such a fundamental, foundational part, I think, for the church in the UK and everywhere.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. Yeah, that motivates us as well. I mean, the feeding of the 5,000 is a classic text for me on that sort of basis. Here are, first of all, hungry people, and Jesus' first move is get them something to eat. Then, when they've been fed, he then teaches them. So, it is both action, deed, and proclamation word. And I don't think authentic Christian mission can ever separate those two. You can never, preach at people and never try and meet their needs. Neither can you only try and meet their needs and never speak to them. It has to be an infusion of both.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So how many people are you as a food bank supporting? Are you doing this like a few days a week, or is it all days a week? What's the state of your food bank?
So the food bank is open on 3 days a week, and it will. So that's a Monday afternoon, a Friday morning, and Wednesday all day, sort of 10 till 3. And as Christmas approaches, we'll be opening longer on those days. The food bank last year served, or in the last 12 months, we've served 115,000 meals.
Wow.
And it goes up all the time. And so, I've been associated with this project for a while. Yesterday was the biggest queue I've ever seen. It's not necessarily the biggest one ever, but it's the biggest one I've ever seen. And we know, we anticipate, based on historic trends, that that's going to the demand will get bigger in the next 3 weeks. So, we're always pushing the records of what we've done, sadly, and they're not the sort of records we want to break.
No, not at all. Coming back to those knitted angels then, but the food bank is going to take some pressure off. I've been there. I know the feeling of coming home with a bag of shopping when you had nothing and saying to your kids, we're eating tonight. Now that stress relief is enormous. On top of that, it was towards Christmas for us, incidentally, and they had I think there was some little like chocolate coin things in there for Christmas, and it was those tiny little things that almost seemingly inconsequential, but such joy and hope. And that's, I guess, is what you're going for with these knitted angels. How many years have you been doing this now? Well,
this is the first time we've done this. I think it might have been done before in some way here in this church. But I'm in my 6th year here. It's been my 6th Christmas in Plymouth, and it's not something we've done before in my time. It's just a simple way. We've got a little knitting group, and So I thought, oh, what can we do to get them sort of involved? And so yeah, I mean, I feel I was probably a little bit ambitious by going for 1,000 angels, and I think I'm now somebody that they avoid whenever they see me come into the building. So they're kind of like fingers and knuckles are raw, but no. So that yeah, that that's the kind of idea. Just a little bit of hope for somebody, and just who knows, it might be. It might be for somebody a real timely message that God is on their case, God is watching over them, God is working in their lives, and I just never know where that might go for somebody.
Fantastic. If there are some knitters out and about that want to help you, how can they get involved? Are there sort of particular patterns or prints? I know nothing about knitting, so
No. Yeah, basically we're using a pattern from another Christian organisation, so we don't want to take any sort of credit for that where it's not due. And all the details are on our website. So that's pmch.org.uk/Christmas Angels. And there you can download the pattern, see what we're doing, where to send it, how to drop it off, etc. At this stage, we're trying to gather as many angels as we can. And as many as we get, whether we get to 1,000 or not, I don't know. But as many as we get, we'll seek to give away as a sign of blessing to other people. And that's simply what we're trying to do. That's what we do at the food bank. That's what we kind of do in the Christian life. Whatever we've got from the Lord, we try and give away to bless other people. That's the simple principle that we're working behind, really.
Fabulous. And then obviously you're a minister of the gospel, so you're coming to your quietest season of the year now, I guess.
Yeah, it is a bit crazy, but there's always loads going on, and but I mean, it's something I love. I love Christmas. I love all the cultural, sort of stuff that goes around Christmas. I'm a glutton for Christmas movies and lighting the log fire. So I'm a big softie at heart, really. But it is there's something about this season and the winter and our cultural customs that I think I've said it to our congregation. This is the easiest invite of the year. Come and invite somebody to a candlelit carol service. They'll have a nice, pleasant experience. And if nothing else, they'll have a nice, pleasant experience, and they'll go, "Oh, that was nice, wasn't that lovely and Christmassy?" And if so, if God, works in people's hearts and minds over and above that, then that is really exciting, and it's a great opportunity for us. So, it's going to be busy, but that's fine. Busy's good.
Busy is good. What a way to finish. Okay, can you finish with a message of hope for people? What can you say to people who are perhaps they don't know about that local food bank, they're not connected with a church? What's your message of hope as we look towards Christmas, which of course leads on to Easter, but as we look towards Christmas, what's the message of hope that you can leave with the people now?
Sure. Well, I think the message of hope is that God is on our case. I don't mean that like in an aggressive way, but God watches over us. He sees us. He notices us. He cares for us. God sees you. He recognizes both the joys and the struggles. And the Christmas story tells us that God cares about us. He didn't wait for us to work our way up to him or find a way that we can make ourselves good enough. He comes to us, and he's born in the middle of the mess and the rubbish and the pain, and lives amongst that and dwells amongst that as a baby born in Bethlehem. And that, of course, is the beginning of God's rescue message. That is the beginning of the rescue story, that little baby who's born in a wooden manger or laying in a wooden manger would go on to be the man who is strung out on a wooden cross, and the means of our rescue and liberation from sin completely. So this is all about God's goodness and grace, really, and the whole Christmas story is all about God's goodness and grace, and so it's worth just reflecting on kind of what's going on in that Christmas story. It's worth just thinking about what the claims of the Christian faith are around Christmas, because they're potentially life-changing for every individual that does that. And it's just full of the goodness of God, really. So I'd encourage people just to reflect on that and begin just to consider, why is it that at Christmas time Christians talk about hope and light and joy? What is so joyful about this story? Well, there's plenty, actually. And I'm sure that most local churches across the country would love to help people check out that and explore that more.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for your time today, Gareth. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Have you got any angels there for us to see, or have you got none nearby?
No, I'm sorry. I've got that's a
Oh,
very it's not good, is it? No, I've not got one nearby. Sorry, that was a faux pas of mine. Yeah, no, I haven't got one here.
no, that's fine.
Somewhere around I will. Again, on the website there is a picture of a real and genuine angel, one that
Right.
has been knitted. So the shameless plug, pmch.org.uk/Christmas angels, and there you'll see a picture of one, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Nothing shameless about it. I asked you to share it. That's fine. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you get what you need. And I know I haven't been in full-time ministry. It's a busy time. So take those moments to hush and pause when you can, in amongst the busyness. And I hope you get your own time to reflect and everything.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that.
Cheers. Bye for now.